Hey everyone, welcome back to the East Bay Sports Talk podcast. I'm your host Steven Avos alongside my dad.
Hello.
And today we got a special guest, Marissa Dorr.
Hi.
And today we're gonna, first start with a little opening, something a little new, just run down some stuff going on with sports and ourselves. Then we're gonna do our usual East Bay rundown with the A's, Warriors, and Raiders, and then have a special closing that we'll talk about later. So first off,
Surprise closing?
Yeah, a little surprise closing, although it's something that's been talked about a lot lately, for months actually.
My weight.
No.
Okay.
You want to take another
I
guess?
don't want to talk about my weight.
You want to take another guess?
No. Continue.
All right. So first off, I want to talk a little bit about something that I've been really getting into lately, and that is bowling. Now, of course, as some might expect, who did I get this from? My dad.
Me? And for you unfamiliar with the sport, it involves a ball and 10 pins, which you have 2 opportunities to knock down.
I think people got that. Everyone's played bowling at some
Not
point.
everybody. I'm just, Marissa, do you bowl?
I have.
Okay. We're exception, okay?
Yeah, and what do you call it? Starting like last year, I believe, I started going out with friends like every weekend to a bowl where we at this local place we go to, which you can go from 9:30 to 12 for only like $16, and we just play as much as we can there. As many games as you want, and it just got really fun. And at first, like we're all like we're scrubs about it, we're like, we'll be happy to get 100 in a game, and we only throw straight balls. But now everyone, almost everyone, knows how to throw a good curve and all
I
that.
wouldn't say a good girl, but you do throw and make an attempt at it, yes.
My highest game is 170. Some of our friends, their highest are in the 200s, which is really impressive. And it's just really fun, and we get really intense about it. Like, you guys should see me. Like, I actually, I swear a lot when I play bowling, and because, there's a lot of music there, no one can hear me, so I feel like it allows me to do that.
Oh, when the music's not playing, you can always swear in sign language. That way no one can hear you.
Oh, but I don't know sign language.
Maybe you should learn.
And they always wanted me to learn that.
Marissa, you know sign language?
I took it in high school.
See?
Now, what's your technique there when you bowl?
I throw a straight ball. I throw it hard, throw it straight.
And when you get a strike, what do you do?
Well, I can't show you on a podcast.
But you could describe it in a way.
Well, it's the crane kick from that movie.
You do a crane kick.
Yeah, I do a crane kick. And as the ball approaches the pins, I kick my foot out and put my hands up. You'd have to see it to believe it. Anyway.
And I don't really have much of a celebration. I just high five everyone around me, and I'm a pretty good sport about it. When we're losing, because sometimes we'll have some matchups every now and then. Sometimes we wager money on some of these games, and I get really intense about it. But if my team is doing really good, I'm so happy with them. And if they're struggling, I try to motivate them to play better. And then when I do bad, I'm just really angry.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yes.
Start breaking things.
Not that far.
What's your high score, Marissa?
I don't think I've made it in the hundreds. I don't bowl very many strikes.
That's okay.
I
That's
don't bowl
okay.
that many
What do
strikes
you
either.
like to do best? What sport?
Softball.
Softball. And you played in high school, right?
Yes, for 4 years.
And from what I understand, your dad was the coach.
Yes.
Was it all 4 years he coached?
The first year, he coached me for half a year because I was on JV for half a year and moved up to varsity, and then after that, 3 years.
And you are now in college at Chabot,
Yes.
and you're playing there.
Yes.
What's the difference between high school and college besides the competition level?
So we play a lot of double headers, so we get a lot of games in one day, and it's a lot more intense. Just we have, I think, at least 40 games, and we started back in June, and we've gone from June, and now it's February, and it's just really intense.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a half a whole baseball season.
Yeah.
And then you also still have the summer leagues going on, right?
I'm not gonna play summer ball anymore because I'm in college, I don't think I can really do that anymore, but I did play last summer with my dad's team.
Nice.
Excellent.
And then next up, we got to talk about the Olympics. So this year, the Summer Olympics are going to take place in Tokyo, and I bet there has to be some growing concerns about it. You want to go for that?
Well, yeah, considering it's so close to China and the health threat with the coronavirus, I'm surprised they don't put it off for a year until at least they get things under control a little bit, because these athletes' health should be the number one priority. And I think.
Oh, sorry to interrupt, but for anyone that's going to attend in general, because a lot of people make a point of it to go there to watch.
Yeah, and considering this virus is so new, there's a lot of things they don't know about it. So I would, like I said, I know it's not the feasible money-wise thing to do, but I'd put it off for a year.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest factor is money, because people will do anything just to make sure they get, their salary in check.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about it, Marissa?
I'm not really sure what they should do because I don't really know enough about the coronavirus. I heard that if you have a pretty good immune system, you have a better chance of fighting it off. But I know there's a lot of cases in different countries, and obviously a bunch of different countries are going to the Olympics. So it's hard to really know what they should do because who doesn't want to watch the Olympics?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. And for the last thing of our opening, we're going to talk about the NFL's latest proposal to, instead of having 12 teams make the playoffs, it will be 14 and going from a 16-week schedule to 17 and reducing the preseason games from 4 to 3. Someone here definitely doesn't like it. Would you like to start off then?
First of all, they should cut down the exhibition games to 2. They don't need any more teams in the playoffs. You don't want half the league being playoff eligible. That's ridiculous. That's like hockey and what's the other sport? Does it?
Basketball.
Basketball. Oh yeah. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. Just keep, cut down. How many players have career or season-end injuries in the preseason, the first 2-3 games of the preseason?
Well, not that bad, but actually, if you think about it, because I'm gonna try to go not against it, but I'm still supporting your opinion on it, but just from a different perspective, is how many starters even play in the preseason games? So what's the preseason even worth anymore if you're just gonna have guys that aren't even gonna make the team play?
Yeah, they play the first couple of maybe downs or a series of down, first maybe couple series.
And then what happens at the start of the season? They don't really start off well. The first week of the NFL usually is a pretty slow week, and that's because no one gets any time to get adjusted to the game again.
Yeah.
So really, I do agree with the part that it should be taken down to 2. I don't think there should be as many playoff teams, but maybe a 17-week schedule I won't mind. But the other 2 things I don't like.
Yeah, the thing is with as far as anything going with the playoffs or how many exhibition games are being played, the Players Association has a big say in this. So I doubt if they would, unless there's a big money incentive, I don't see them changing the way it is.
And what are your thoughts on this?
I think that they should also cut down the preseason games because you don't want anybody to get hurt. And I think that having too many teams in the playoffs really just, I feel like it takes away from getting there. You work so hard to make the playoffs, and if so many people are just getting in, then it's not really the same feeling.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yep, exactly. And so that is. Oh, actually, no. One more little thing is that the vote from the Players Association is on Tuesday, and it's very likely they're going to vote no on it, unless, you said, there's going to be a huge money incentive, maybe to convince them. But I don't. Even in that case, they might not vote for it.
And I could see. I'm playing devil's advocate here because, the players might vote for it because players, teams that are on the outside, always looking in, they have a chance to make a little extra money. Not that they need it, that they exorbitant salaries these guys are getting. Um, so it's I don't know. We'll see on Tuesday.
Yeah, and I think we all hope that it doesn't go through.
No go for me.
Yeah, no for me.
No for me.
And Larry, I believe you would say no. We're talking about our cat, by the way.
Yeah. Clean sweep.
Yep. And now to get on to our little rundown with the East Bay. So first off, we're going to start off with the A's. So good news, baseball's back. I think
Yes.
all of us are very excited about that. You're excited
Yeah.
about that, right?
Definitely.
And what you got? There's a lot to look forward to with the A's. They're coming off of 2 back-to-back 97-win seasons, but also back-to-back wild card losses. Yeah, unfortunately, the A's do hold the highest active streak for must-win game losses, which
I'm pretty sure it's what, 8 or 9.
yeah,
Yeah.
around there. And we were actually at the last wild card game. We were really excited for that. And
Down 4-0 after the second inning, I do believe.
yeah, and I really felt bad for Sean Manaea because he was really looking forward to that start and all that. And I really thought he had it that day.
There was a debate on who they were going to start that game.
Oh yeah, just like last
And
year
I thought I thought it was a no-brainer for to pick either one, because the Fires had been our man all year, but Sean Manaea hadn't pitched many innings, and the innings he did pitch when he came back were spectacular.
Oh yeah, he was amazing in the little time that he was in. So it was a tough decision, but I wouldn't argue with it either way.
But the bad thing on that is, if you consider it bad, is that Fires for the second year in a row was bypassed.
Yeah.
And they should have given it to him last year instead of that crap with Hendricks starting that game.
The opener.
You pay a lot of money for these pitchers. Let them do their job. Let them earn their money. And he's been passed over twice now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one there. And so now we're going to talk about what we think might go on with their roster, and there's a lot going on with
before
this
we get to the roster, let's go to Marissa. And we don't. Who's your favorite team?
So I'm a diehard Giants fan, even if I'm a little upset with them right now.
As well you should be. It's going to be a long year.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm a Giants fan. I've been a Giants fan forever. My dad is a Giants fan. He raised me as a Giants fan. But it's going to be a long year.
Yeah. But you know what? The thing about it, because you don't expect much from them this year.
No.
You're going to be saying, just like when the A's had crappy teams, you're going to, you're going to get some nuggets in the rough, some diamonds in the rough, so to speak. And there'll be some good games. There'll be some incredible games. There'll be incredible plays. There'll be so much you'll enjoy this season. Unfortunately, it's going to be overrun by the bad.
Yeah, and we had to go through that from 2015 to 16, and a bit of 2017 as well, where there's just some really rough seasons.
Yeah.
Like less than 70 wins.
Well, when Bean got rid of all of our all-stars, how many all-stars? Yeah, 7?
6.
6 all-stars, all gone within like 2 years, I do believe.
It was, the longest staying was Vogt. Oh no, Vogt wasn't an all-star yet at the time. No, he became an all-star the next 2 years after everyone left.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw a lot of people come and go through those years, so we definitely know what it's like to see a team struggle. But looking at where it is now, sometimes you see where the trades went and how it helped out, and I don't know. When you're a fan of a team, patience is definitely something you need, because there's gonna be so many years your team is gonna be so bad, but it just makes the better years even more worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been going to games since '68 when they first came here. It was the only game in town, and me and I have a family, come from a family of 8, so it was a cheap way for my parents to take us all out to the ball game. I mean, the game was like probably $1 each to get in at the time at the Coliseum, and I tell you, opening day is something special because every team starts fresh. And when you go out to the stadium, I love the day games, especially because you go out there, the grass is freshly cut. You can smell the grass in the air. Just seeing the guys out there playing catch and doing the calisthenics. And Baseball's probably my favorite sport out of all of them.
Yeah, and we were talking about an idea we had for spring training. Remember?
Maybe going to a game?
Yeah, trying to see if we can take
Well,
a trip.
not one game, but a series of games in Arizona.
Yeah, and,
That'd be something else, I tell you.
yeah, I'd love to do that, and I just love traveling in general. I just have a weird obsession with hotels. I don't know if anyone ever notices that, but I like look around the entire room when whenever I'm in a hotel and like just to get this opportunity.
It might have to do with the fact that you don't have to clean up anything.
Yeah, well,
I think that's the key.
we are neat though.
And every dinner is a dinner out. We go to restaurants.
Yeah.
Could that have something to do with it?
Yeah, I mean, also I just like all the little things about it, all the little amenities. But other than that, go back to the topic of sports and not a hotel because this is not a hotel review.
Hotel.com. They're not a sponsor. They're not a sponsor.
No, we'll take the money though. But either way, should we now talk about the roster?
Sure.
All right, so there's an active roster going on. It's over 26 already because you're gonna have so many people trying out to try to make the team this year. But let's try to go down who we think is gonna make it. And first off, would you have to go for anyone that you would really like to be on the Giants?
I don't know. I feel like it's too late for them to sign anybody big. They let Bumgarner go. They didn't give him the offer he deserved. But as far as people in their own system making it, I don't know. I think even though I'm not ready for Vescovi to move on as a catcher or move away from being a catcher, I think it's probably smart for them to call up Bart soon and their other young guys because they're going to need help.
Yeah. Well, how many years has he been catching? I think was it 12 his rookie year?
Posey started catching. Well, he got called up in 09, but he didn't start catching until 10. He took over for Benji Molina, so he's been catching for 10 years.
Oh, yeah. It's not on your knees, too.
Yeah. He's got a bad
And
hip.
you use your legs for hitting, as you well know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, being a catcher, I of course I'm not a catcher. If you saw my frame, you would know I wouldn't make it a single day as a catcher. My legs would snap in half. But no, it's very taxing on the body.
Yeah.
And so going back to the A's here, was any other things you want to say?
No, I'm still frustrated that they let Bumgarner go.
I've never even heard about that. Which team picked him up?
The Diamondbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Arizona.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Arizona, there's a team that's been they've been trying.
Loading up.
I hope they do well. I'm going to root for them on the side for Bumgarner. And Bogue's on their team.
So your second favorite team?
Possibly. Oh, I'm wearing a Brewers shirt right now.
Oh, wait a minute. I didn't even notice that. So, okay, we got Giants, Diamondbacks, Brewers.
I'm a Yelich fan.
Oh, okay.
Who isn't a Yelich fan? I'm a big fan of Christian Yelich as well. He just seems, I don't know, he's like so nice to see someone like him, like such a small frame, and yet he could go over 30 home runs every year.
He's not that small.
He's kind of tiny.
He's tall.
He's
definitely.
tall.
And tall and skinny.
Yeah.
I'm not that tall, actually. I'm only 6 foot tall. That's not, that's okay. But either way, one thing I'm really looking forward to for the A's roster this year is I think we're going to have one of the best rotations that we've had in a while.
Yeah.
Don't know who's going to be the leader of that, either Fiers or Manaea. I like to go for Manaea to lead the way with this rotation.
Well, what is our proposed rotation?
Well, for opening day, I'm going to want to go with Sean Manaea. Next, I want to go with Frankie Montas. Even though he did get suspended for 80 games last year, the way he was playing, depending on how assisted it was, because he did get suspended for PEDs. I still think he has a great arm and all that. So he'll be a great day 2 guy. Number 3, Mike Fiers. He's I think perfect to have in the middle of the rotation.
I think he should be our starter opening day.
I go more for Manaea, much younger, and I think Fiers, his stats are going to drop a little bit.
And what leads you to think this?
Because if you look at his career average, there's such a big difference. I think his career
He's
average.
been on top of his game in the last 2 years.
Yeah, but like I said, Manai is just an excellent pitcher, and
Yeah, what happened in the playoffs?
not the same thing. But I think that's driving him, and we all know that he's going to use that to motivate himself. And I think the way the A's look at him, they look at him as like they're a big guy for the team.
You know what motivate me? $5 million a year.
Yeah. And then for the 4 and 5 spot, it's basically a mix-up between AJ Puck and Jesus Luzardo. I think I side more with Jesus Luzardo since he had a bit of a better sample size than AJ Puck did. AJ Puck had a little bit of a rough start when he first got in the league, when he made his debut, but he really got a hold of himself as the year went on. But Luzardo, though, he was amazing throughout the entire month of September. And then when he had to come in for the wild card game, he pitched 3 scoreless innings.
Yeah,
which,
I like Luzardo over Puck. Puck should be in the bullpen.
They threw Luzardo under the bus, and the bus got wrecked, in my opinion. Because I don't know if I would put him in that situation. Someone that's only played for a month in the big leagues.
Yeah.
So, great job for Luzardo there. And then lots of positions are going to be already figured out. So catcher is going to be Sean Murphy easily as a starter. But then we got Austin Allen and Jonah Heim challenging each other for that one. I think I'm going to go with Austin Allen because he's more of a known player and has much more experience than Jonah Heim, unless Jonah Heim just has a great spring training. But my money's on Austin Allen. But we all know that Sean Murphy's going to take most of the reps.
Yeah.
Then
Do you have any favorite A's players? Wissa?
I like the way Simeon plays. I think he's a great player. Matt Olson's good too, and Chapman. I think he's a really great player.
I think they have one of the best corners in all of baseball.
Oh, they could have the best infield in baseball.
Olson saves so many plays at first base.
And so does
incredible.
Chapman.
And the thing is, he almost looks lazy when he's playing. The way he catches the ball, the way he goes after the ball. But he's not. He's just that smooth. I totally dig his style.
Yeah. And my favorite player on the A's at this moment is Matt Olson. And I love seeing him hit home runs too, just that swing he has. And I've actually been able to call one of his home runs. It was against the Brewers, actually. It was
his third favorite team?
It was the first game they had where the Brewers were in Oakland. And it was either the bottom of the 9th or 10th inning. Either way, it was a walk-off situation. And they brought out Hader, the Twitter guy.
Don't be a hater.
And they brought him out to try to not save the game because it was a tight game at the moment, but try to keep it going. And knowing that he's a lefty specialist against a lefty batter, it's like, oh, this reminds me of when Tony Sipp of the Astros the year before that went against Matt Olson in the 10th inning, and Olson took him deep to walk it off.
Bomb.
And knowing their style, they love to throw low in the batter's box, and that's how Olson hits. That's his hot spot, is the lower part of the batter's box. If you notice when he strikes out, it's usually to something that's high in the zone. He has a hard time hitting those. But if you leave it low, he's going to launch it deep. And what happens? Hader happens to be a pitcher that usually throws pretty low, in my opinion. That's what I see where I see most of his pitches go. What happens? It goes low. Olson looks at it, knocks it out of the park. Called it right there. And that's one of the reasons why I really love Matt Olson on this team. And, of course, he's going to be the first baseman starting the season. And Matt Chapman at third, Simeon at short. And then the big debate is who's going to be the second baseman. We all know that Pender's going to have some reps every now and then in case someone gets hurt.
Yeah.
But
he's a great utility guy.
Yeah, but I still don't think he has what it takes to be an everyday guy yet, because as the season went on last year, his stats did start to regress considerably.
When he got consistent at bats,
And, there's many people to go to. You got Franklin Barreto, Machin, hope I didn't pronounce his name wrong, Sheldon Noisy, who's played some second, although he's mainly a third baseman, and Jorge Mateo. And then Matt Kemp, who, even though on MLB.com he's listed as an outfielder, he can also play second base as well.
Yeah. He might give you a little bit of power. Barreto, he's had his chance and hasn't taken advantage of it. Now, Bob Melvin says this is going to be his year. I think he's no more than a utility player. A sub. I don't see him getting consistent at bats unless there's an injury involved.
And one thing that frustrates me about having all these prospects in the infield is why not trade them? We have these deadlines where there's so many big players available, and like the A's, it's hard to be a good team and still have a lot of draft capital because usually you get draft capital because your team is so bad. Not draft capital, trade capital. My bad. But you know what I'm trying to say with this? All these guys that you only need one of them. Why not, do something with the rest and try to get something in return?
Well, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. The baseball season is a long year, and injuries happen. You might just get a diamond in the rough. Might get a total surprise player.
I still think.
But let them get the spring training is going to tell a lot about some of these guys who marginal players that, like you said, they don't belong on the roster.
Or at least maybe they're not too good to be with us, but sometimes they're just barely below the person that makes it, where it's they're just wasting away. So give them purpose by trading them to a team that will appreciate them more.
Well, no, because I think Bob Melvin is really good at getting players at bats. So they don't get rusty on the bench. He juggles the roster very well.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out by the time the trade deadline comes in and knowing where this team will be. Standings wise and how these players are going to be doing when they're back in AAA or AA baseball.
So I have a question for you guys. How do you feel about the A's not being on the radio this year?
Steven?
When I first got the headline, I'm like, what? What now? Are they talking about radio outside the Bay Area and all that? And I started reading more, so I'm like, what? Why? I like listening to them, when I'm in my car, there has to be a game going on that day and such, or whenever we're in a car, you want to hear the radio, you love listening to Ken Korak and Vince Cotroneo talking, but I don't know, I think it's a little ridiculous.
Well, it's going to be on the internet, right?
Yeah, Ace Tune or something like that.
Well, look at the bad side and good side. The bad side is you're not going to be able to listen to it on the radio in your car. The good side is
you can listen to it when you're not in your car and don't have a TV.
Well, the way things now with computers and cars, and you can put it on your phone and connect it to your car.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's just the modern way to do it. Now, I think they will be getting a radio contract before the season starts. That's just the way it is. They would be the first team ever to not have a radio contract. And there was times when they were on a really crappy station a couple years back, I think.
A couple years back?
No, 10 years back.
Oh, okay. I was saying radio.
I can't remember what year it was, but they were on a station I'd never even heard of. But they're on the radio. So you just have to find out what it is and get it on there. But I don't think anybody will have a problem getting the A's broadcast on their computers.
I won't be surprised if actually they get more not revenue from it, but because they have a way of figuring out how many people are listening, right?
Yeah, supposedly. Yeah.
I think they might actually get a better turnout because it might just be easier because for the radio usually people are either listen to it when they're driving or they have an actual radio with them, but people never really would listen on their phone that much. If they could, they would just watch it.
Well, the days of walking around with your transistor radio are gone. Now everybody has their smartphones and they can listen to the phone. They're listening to the game on their phone.
That part I do like. I just wish that they didn't have to take it away from the car. Of course, now you got aux cord, so you can just connect your phone.
Well,
to the car.
radio's old school. So we just have to see how it works out.
Embrace the future.
Yeah. Good question, Marissa.
Thank you.
And last thing for the A's, we're going to go over some little predictions. So what are the A's going to finish with? What's their over-under we're thinking about? I've heard, I think it's 87.
Is that what the Vegas odds are?
I believe so. I don't want to go double down on that.
I think it was 86 or 85 last year. And they surpassed with 97 wins. 97 wins the last 2 years. I'm going to say, you know what? They got a good roster. I like their starting pitching this year more than last year. I'm going to go with the 102 wins.
102.
Did I stutter? Well, actually, I did stutter right there, but
I'd
102 wins.
say 99.
I-
Yeah. And actually,
You want to take a
look
wild guess, Marissa, about your Oakland A's?
oh,
Yeah, not mine. I'll say 92.
92 wins. Speaking of which, how many wins do you think your Giants will get?
68.
Wow, she just threw that out there. Had you studied this?
No. No, I mean,
Is 68 your favorite number?
no. I
Okay.
feel like
I'm gonna go 71 wins for the Giants.
70.
Why you gotta get so close to me? What's up?
What if I already had that in my mind?
Then you should have said it. I think you just waited. Okay, we're gonna get into a fight here.
Either way, we still actually
Say
have
we
the
fight.
roster to figure out because we didn't go over the outfield. Oh, so out of the second baseman, who do you think will make it? I'm gonna put my money on Kemp.
Kemp.
Yeah, easily. So for the outfield, Chris Davis is listed as an outfielder, but we know he's gonna be going back to DH.
Let me get one
Always-
more question out of here. Marissa, are you happy they got back Pence?
I think yes, I like Pence. I think they did it just to appease the fans. If I were Pence, I would have told him no way, I don't want to come back
I like that thinking.
because
You
They-
threw me away last time,
yeah,
huh?
they didn't want him and he left. If I were Pence, I'd say I don't want to come back.
I always thought he was an incredible spark plug for the team,
He is. I think he's just
and he gave it
guy.
his all every game. There was no messing around with him. I wish the A's had picked him up.
Oh yeah,
You know?
we talked about that a bit. I
Yeah,
think.
he brings that excitement every at bat. Playing the outfield, or he plays a steady outfield.
He's a great player.
Yeah,
But so for the rest of the outfield, there's Grossman and Pinder who are probably gonna switch out every now and then on left field, and Canna as well because you got Ramon Laureano at center. Canna's gonna back up there. Then we got Piscotty. Actually,
Piscotty.
Canna can play almost
Every time I say his name, I got to say it like that. Piscotty.
Canna can play almost any of the outfield positions there. But Piscotty, I feel like he might be a little bit
Who?
on the fringe. Canna,
No, the other player, previous player.
you can say it.
Piscotty. Okay,
There
I
you
did.
go.
Okay, that's the last time I say a
But-
name like that.
Piscotty will be on the fringe.
But-
I feel like this year because his year was really downgraded by injury and just not being able to play enough. Not getting good enough sample size with the team, even though he did play the year before.
Now, who are you talking
Piscotty.
about? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's some other guys like Sky Bolt who had like one series with the A's, didn't really do much, and Seth Brown. Now when he first came in, like his first week, like man, we could not really ask for much more for someone in their first week in the majors. Really solid player, but only so many of them can make it. Pinder, I'll lock him down as the utility man, so I won't really consider him part of the outfield group. Same thing for Davis because he's really a designated hitter.
And
So-
Davis, if they put him in the outfield again after last year's fiasco, he got injured playing the outfield. Just have when they play the National League teams, have him bat one time a game or whatever. But he can't play the outfield. He's a shitty outfielder, and he is a detriment to the team.
But with his bat, he can be really good. He is looking for a bit of
Yeah, but
better year.
you can't bat if you're injured.
Yeah, and so I think I got Robbie Grossman on for left field, either him or Seth Brown. I could see Seth Brown taking that away from him somehow if let's say Grossman has some struggling issues and Seth Brown is spectacular.
Well, like I said, also Melvin really juggles the lineup to get everybody at bats. So
Yeah.
I won't have any worry there.
Then center field, Laureano's an easy lockdown. He is such a
Laser.
great player. Oh man, yeah, he's got a cannon for an arm. And for right field, Piscotty and Canna. Then someone that could back them all up is not back them all up, but back up left field is Brown. I keep mentioning that because I don't know if Grossman. I don't know. I know you like Grossman, right?
A decent player. He's a quality
Yeah.
player.
And I sometimes have mixed feelings about him because sometimes his defense
I
is
just
questionable.
I don't think you like the name Grossman. Oh, Grossman. He's gross.
That's not at all where I was going with it, but okay.
Okay.
And then maybe Tony Kemp might get some reps every now and then if someone gets injured.
Yeah.
Like emergency.
Yeah. Put Brado as anytime he starts at second base, put Kemp in the outfield.
And then let's try to name like 6 guys for the bullpen. How many guys are usually in the bullpen, you would think?
Oh yeah, a good amount.
6 or 7?
The Giants always carry a lot of guys. So.
Yeah.
There's always a lot of people.
Just give us a couple of examples.
Well, Wendelken, I think he's going to be due for a really good year. He was in and out
He's
every now and
due
then.
for a good year.
Well, because he was in and out every now and then last year, but then he started to play really well. So I think that's going to carry over, and he's going to do a great job. Petit, very reliable, but they can't put him in as much as they did last year. They put him in way too much.
Well, yes and no. He could be one of these players who need to work to stay true to form.
Still, I wouldn't be so insistent on him playing back-to-back days so often.
Well, you can avoid it, yeah, of course. Hopefully, they'll have big enough leads so they won't even need him.
Soria, I'm a bit nervous about, but he did end the year well. But for a while, like the first 2 months, he was a mess to watch at times.
He's a pitcher getting up in age, so we'll hope the best with him.
And then one player who really is fighting for his life on this one, Trevino, because the first half of his rookie season was excellent, and then after that, he just his ERA continues to rise, and he just shows so much struggle.
I do believe he finished strong last year, though.
I don't think so. I don't know. It's just I know like other people that I like listen to as well.
He's got the tools.
He has them, but like it's still like you could have them or not, but it depends on what you do with them and if you're able to execute on it. And he hasn't been able to, so I won't be surprised if he doesn't make the roster. And then you also have Chris Bassett. I think that's one thing I love about the rotation, that you also have someone that can back up in case something goes wrong, which is Chris Bassett. He can easily be someone to come in if one of our starters are not doing really well or there's an injury or suspension. Just plug in Chris Bassett, and I think he'll do a great job. And he could also be in for long relief as well. You also got Jake Diekman. I wasn't so thrilled on him coming back this year.
What did they sign him for? How much?
I think like $8 million.
A year or
just for 1 year.
1 year? Not cash.
Yeah, and I just feel like he was really inconsistent. He has such a high strikeout percentage, but then it also comes with a lot of walks as well. He walked a lot of people, especially on full counts as well, which just ups the pinch count and really tires a pitcher.
Yeah, you got to know how to
finish someone off.
Finish him off.
Because
finish him. Did they say Mortal Kombat? You ever play Mortal Kombat?
No.
You know aware of that saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
T.J. McFarland, he's I thought he was a much older player, but I know he's only 30. I know we signed him. I actually did meet him at the Fan Fest, so I wished him luck. And I know his career ERA is around 4. Not the greatest, but I don't know. Maybe with the A's he'll do better, and I think he should be able to make the team. Because when you sign someone that's like 30 or older, I think you do usually expect them to be on that team for you that year. And then last but most definitely not least is Liam Hendriks. Was he excellent to have?
Incredible. And
when Blake Treinen struggled so much last year, Hendriks really was a lifesaver, day in and day out. I'm really grateful to have him on the team. And he's come a long way too from when he first joined. I believe in either 2015 or 16 to someone that was like he was DFA'd last year, then came in to do the opener job, which I know you're not a fan of, but that did revive Hendriks' career.
Being an opener?
Yeah, because they brought him back to the roster for that. And then he started to become a regular reliever afterwards.
When Treinen took a dump on the field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just really grateful for how he's been.
Now, you're obviously, like we were talking about, a Giant fan.
Mm-hmm.
What are the bright spots on the Giants this year for you? Besides Pence being back, how do you like the way what's his face?
How do you think it's gonna go?
Yeah, how do you think it's gonna go?
I don't know.
You know, you got 68 wins.
Yeah, I just want them to be competitive. I know. I think I think somewhere on Twitter or somewhere, somebody was saying that right now what the Giants are trying to do is get better for the future. But if I'm watching a game, I want to see them be competitive. I don't want them to just go out there and think that, well, this is a throwaway season. We know that they're rebuilding, but I still want to see a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. With our next topic, actually, because I think that's pretty much all we have to say for the A's.
Yeah.
Is the Warriors and how things are going.
Let's continue on the baseball front.
Okay.
And let's go with the elephant in the room.
Okay, so I did want to say that for last, but if you guys want to talk about it now, that's totally fine.
Talk about it right now. I banged on the table.
Yeah,
That might. Okay. Anyway, no banging on the table.
Yes.
Like this. Can't do that. Okay. Elephant in the room.
That is the Houston Asterisks, as I will call them.
And they should forever be known.
Yes, because as many baseball fans know, it's been confirmed through investigation that they cheated from at least 2017 through 2019, I believe. And the punishment, while at first some people thought it might have been harsh to suspend their manager, general manager, and fine them $5 million, which is the max. Many still do believe, including us, that it wasn't nearly enough, as we believe that many of the players who orchestrated it in general should have gotten in the most trouble, but they were granted immunity by our commissioner, Rob Manfred.
Yeah. Now, from what I understand, AJ Hinch 4 times took the monitor out of the dugout, and 4 times the GM had it put back in there. So AJ Hinch did attempt to curtail the situation, but was out. How would you say?
Overpowered
by the GM. As far as the players getting immunity, joke.
Yeah.
Okay, they were complicit in the whole thing. They're the ones who, if they didn't want to pay attention to whatever, the banging or the video monitors, you could have avoided that. These guys cheated, out and out cheated, and like the Black Sox.
White Sox, you mean?
No, the Black Sox.
Oh.
The ones who were banned from baseball.
Yeah.
A swift punishment should have been, they should lose the title, at least, and the Dodgers should be awarded that title.
I'm not sure about the Dodgers being awarded that title, but
who did you give it to? Nobody that year?
Yeah.
Well, they're the ones who won the National League.
Yeah, that's how they've had it before, though. If something goes wrong, no one wins. And
really? And you have one other time in baseball that happened.
I believe there was a time where there was a strike going on. I think
that's a strike when nobody played, but the season was played.
But you can also say that the team with the best record. Well, that team had the best record. Well, that must have been the best team. Give it to them.
And it was the Dodgers.
They didn't get it.
Anyway, enough. Let's get back to the point of Houston.
Yes. So I already had a big problem with Houston already because I just didn't like the attitudes of the players. I know you were a fan of Bregman for a while, because he was from. No, the LLC
true?
wasn't a factor.
Is it true you took his poster off your wall?
I never had a poster. But
Really?
I never did.
Okay. Yeah, that was just a rumor I heard on Twitter or
That's
Facebook or something. Okay. No, you heard that here, folks. She did not have a poster of Bregman. Okay, continue.
I don't like Bregman's attitude. So obviously I did like him at first. I liked the way he played. He was a little guy at third. He got a lot of balls. He great defensively, but then he started to get too cocky. I didn't like that. So I totally changed my opinion of him. And then when I found out about the cheating, it made it even worse because it was like, you're cocky for the wrong reasons. You're not even that good without cheating.
Yeah, because some people do say this is still a really good team, even without the cheating.
And they are a great team,
but
they didn't need to cheat.
But did you see the road splits though?
Mm-hmm.
The what?
The road split. So basically, or the home and away split. So basically, their stats compared to when they play at home and when they play away for the. I think it was the 2017 playoffs, was it?
Yeah.
Where Altuve was batting in the 400s at home, and he was under 200 away. That's over 200 that your average is changing by.
Well, it helps to know what pitch is coming.
Yeah, but it's not. But it's not even. He's below the Mendoza line when he doesn't have that help. That's what I'm trying to say. And we don't know how many other players are like that. And the stories that the players are giving is so hard to believe. Like especially Carlos Correa, he really put himself under the fire last week or the week before that when he told Cody Bellinger to shut the f up and know the facts and all that. When Bellinger questioned their motives and such. And, the way he's like, oh, well, the reason why Altuve didn't take his jersey out, that's another little thing about it is, people also suspected that they had buzzers on them. That way they get, buzzers for what pitch is going to come. And people got really suspicious because Altuve, when he brought his team to the World Series, when he's crossing home plate, he's waving off his teammates saying, no, don't. And it goes straight to the dugout and comes back with a different shirt on, not even celebrating. And to say that it was a tattoo, really?
Yeah,
because
I suggest anybody go on YouTube and look up that video of him crossing home plate, waving to his teammates. Don't take off the shirt. Don't take off the shirt. It's so telling, and the lies that these guys are making up to cover up other lies is just.
And another thing about it
unfathomable.
Another thing about it as well is that the top of the ninth inning. So before the inning before Altuve hit the home run, he had an undershirt. And then he took it off when he went to bat. So why didn't he just keep it on? Because if he just kept it on, then there's no problem with ripping your jersey off, or no chance of a tattoo being shown if he got ripped off. So why did he take the undershirt off? Did you see that image?
I never noticed that.
It's lies.
He had an undershirt in the top of the ninth inning, and then it wasn't there for the bottom of the ninth when he hit the home run. So even more suspicion brought on. And the lack of accountability, when Bregman and Altuve combined for a minute and a half in their apology. And the owner, oh my goodness, Jim Crane, so disgusting. Oh yeah, we believe that this did not impact the playoffs at all, or our championship. Well, a reporter says, well, how does it not? You guys know what's coming to you. And then he says, oh, I didn't say that it gave us an advantage. Like, you just said that it didn't.
Yeah, I don't know what size shoe he wears, but he put his foot in his mouth many a time.
And everyone should know that he knew something about it. Because you're the owner. You should know everything that's going on with your team. Do you have anything you want to say about it? I feel like there's so much we can go on with it.
I think a good point was made by Clevenger from Cleveland, and he was talking about how guys would have bad outings against Houston and then end up getting sent down for bad outings, and it's unfair to them if they were pitching against them and they knew what was coming and they ended up losing their jobs because of what they were doing. So even if Jim Crane says, oh, it didn't affect what happened in the playoffs, it affected other people's jobs.
Yeah. It affected individuals.
Yeah.
Not just the teams, but the players who got, screwed over because the Astros knew what pitches were coming.
And I think that reminded me of a story with Freddie Freeman where someone asked him what he thought about it, and I think he started to tear up because he thought about a friend of his that he was close with that they don't have a job now because he pitched against the Astros and they demolished him, I think. Or something like that. And how many French players have had their careers ruined because they had to go to Houston? They had to pitch there.
Well, what would your remedy to this problem be? If you were the commissioner, what would you have done?
Oh, I would have suspended at least I would have suspended the main starting roster, the main starting lineup, maybe about half the season.
Why not the whole roster? They're all complicit.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I only don't say the pitchers because the pitchers can't change anything, but you can't say complicit. But I don't know. I don't know about it
You,
sometimes.
you would let them keep the ring?
No, I won't let them keep it either. I would put an asterisk on their thing, take away their trophy, which I guess to Manfred is just a piece of metal. Manfred really just screwed everything up. Like, he had a simple job to do, but he's trying too hard to appease everybody. He's been a kiss ass the entire time to the Astros.
Commissioner Marissa, it's your call. What would you do?
I agree with Steven. I think they should have suspended at least the starting roster. I don't know. What they did was just not enough. $5 million is
$5
nothing.
million, it's chump change.
It's the
chump
max.
change. It's
That's what
nothing
these
to those
owners
guys.
have in their pocket at any given
Exactly.
time. Jeez.
And one thing that like really got players going was what happened recently in soccer with Manchester City. They can't. They found out they were doing something with their finances that was illegal, and so they can't make the playoffs for the next 2 years, and they got fined $33 million.
Now, that sounds a lot better than the punishment they were given.
A lot of baseball players were looking at that and said, "Hey, MLB, take notes."
They are not eligible for the World Series or playoffs, for that matter. Why go to the playoffs if you can't go to the World Series? So, eliminating them from the playoffs for 2 years, and a $50 million fine, $100 million fine.
Yeah.
I mean, the wealth of the baseball owners is just.
It's still won't damage them enough, even if it's $100 million. Like, I still got another few billion.
Still, $5 million is nothing.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah. So, it's like I felt like we weren't asking for much either way. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I was going to ask, what do you guys think about what David Ortiz said about Mike Fiers?
I thought, because technically he wasn't talking about Mike Fiers for snitching. He was talking about when he did it.
Mm-hmm.
But still, for him to talk from his team, especially with the Boston Red Sox tent right behind him, knowing that his team is under investigation for the same exact thing as well, I just think he should have talked about that, especially at that time.
Yeah, I think Big Papi should shut his Big Papi mouth.
Now, what do you think about it?
I can see it from both sides, because what he was saying is that Fiers did it at the wrong time. He already benefited from the cheating, so I can see why he would be upset about that. But I also understand why Fiers spoke out, because if he didn't, it would continue, and it probably would have got a lot worse.
Yeah.
What did Fiers say? What was his response?
It was more of like he was quoted. Oh no, he didn't really have much of a response to it. He's been like pretty quiet about it all. Like he's not really like talking crap to anyone. He's just kind of more reserved about it, which I think is the right route to go.
Yeah.
And another thing too is that, and actually, a report also recently came out this week from a player that was with the A's in 2018. Say his name?
Jonathan LaCroix.
He was the catcher for the A's in 2018, and apparently Fiers told him about it that year, like well before many other people do, and that they actually tried to tell the MLB multiple times, but they did nothing about it.
Well, the A's had told Major League Baseball about it, and nothing was done. So it's while it just came out, I guess this year, baseball has known about it for 2 or 3 years and did nothing about it.
And essentially with the whole thing with the Nationals, when they made the World Series, they got like help from a lot of teams. Like so many teams told them like, hey, you need to watch out because they're going to take your signs and all that. So you need to come up with some strategy. And what the Nationals did was that they basically, how do you say, they changed their signs as much as possible. Like even like midway through a batter, in the middle of an at bat, they changed up the signs. That way no one could catch up with them. And it kind of showed too because it was a really weird World Series because it was all away team wins.
Yeah,
I believe that was the first time
ever in any sport.
Yeah, that the away team won every game,
yeah.
And I'm definitely happy that they won because I did not want Houston to win at all. And that was before I knew about the cheating. I just really did not like their attitudes because I especially like their morals too. Getting someone like Roberto Ozuna. Do you guys know about Ozuna? How he got suspended for how long? Half a year? I believe because he abused his spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other things too about how they might have actually lied about their prospects. That way they get more value. That way they could trade for them. Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
It was from MLB Trash Talkers. That's an Instagram page we love to look at.
Yes.
and they released a page recently about where everything was going for this Astros team, about how someone said like, oh, they should just delete their franchise at this point because of how disgusting they have been. And I'm trying to look for other things right now. Can you remember anything else they mentioned about the team as being like accused of?
Well, while you're looking for that, Marissa, who do you think is going to win the World Series this year? The Dodgers look like Dodgers, Arizona Diamondbacks. I think they're the top runners in the National League.
It's the Diamondbacks.
I
don't know. Honestly, the Dodgers.
Bumgarner fever.
Yeah. I don't know about the Dodgers. They come out every year and they say it's our year, and then they just.
Yeah, 2 years in a row they got screwed in the. If that's the case of the Red Sox and Astros cheating, then
But there was also a good point made by Chris Russo. He said the Dodgers lost at home. The Astros, according to everything or all the reports, they didn't cheat when they were away. So the Dodgers blew a couple chances they had to win the World Series.
I still look a lot at Game 5 though. Do you guys remember Game 5? That was when they kept going back and forth. Remember, it was like the Dodgers were 4-0, then it was tied 4-4. Then it was like 7-7, and then 12-12, and then it ended 13-12. And like looking at that game, how would it have been if they didn't have those cameras? Because if the Dodgers won that game, then they would have had a 3-2 lead. No, yeah, 3-2 lead.
Well, I don't know about what's up with Clayton Kershaw, man. Why he can't the playoffs? He's just a different pitcher.
Don't forget Kenley Jansen either. He's an overrated player in my opinion. I love Kershaw, but yeah, he has so many.
I love Kershaw too. I mean, I think he's just a tough competitor, and he gives it. Well, not that all players don't give it their best, but he just seems
passionate.
He's passionate, yeah. And I don't want to, of course, undercut anybody else's passion. That's ridiculous. He just can't. He just doesn't come through in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So.
And one last.
Your opinion on who's going to win the World Series this year?
Oh, shoot. I can't help but go with the Dodgers as well. I think like not only they seem like a team that can do it this year, especially acquiring Mookie Betts, which is a big trade. Although they did trade away Maeda and Ryu, that's going to hurt their rotation a bit. Betts is a great all-around player, defensively and offensively. I think it's also a good story as well. A team that's been screwed over 2 years in a row because the last two teams they played in the World Series were known for cheating. It's just like it'll feel fitting if they win.
And that's World Series champion.
Yes.
I am going with the Oakland A's. World Series champions of 2020.
They got to get out of the wild card first.
Well, yes. If they win the World Series, then I think they'll get out of the wild card. They're not going to go. They're not going to get the wild card. They're going to win the division. What do you say about that?
I would really like that.
Yes. Anyway.
And one last little thing about the Astros, unless anyone else has anything to say first about the Astros. No? Okay.
Sure.
It's what you got? Since I mentioned earlier how spring training has started, none of their starters are playing today. Even for the A's, they're having all their starters. That's the thing that's different about baseball and football when it comes to preseason. With baseball, you get a lot of the starters. They play a good amount of innings.
Yeah, but they also play a lot of games. They play up to 30 games.
Yeah, but if you had like a ratio comparison, it's still completely different.
Yeah. Could this be their protest?
Oh no, it's not the Astros protesting.
I hear you. I saw you shaking your head, Marissa. You don't think it's a protest?
Because it's not. It's not that they're protesting. It's because they're scared.
Yeah.
They're hiding.
Are you, Marissa?
Yes.
Well, you better have a higher voice.
No.
Okay, so you don't think it's a protest of any kind?
No, it's exactly what Steven said. They're scared. I think they're worried that somebody's going to throw at them.
So why even play any games at all if you're scared?
They're going to have to face the music eventually, and they're going to hear from everybody.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a rough season for them on the road.
And I hope it is.
And hopefully it should be tough for them at home.
And
they should get booed at home for being cheaters.
I think people will make
people
will make an effort. I think to try to go all the way to Houston. We should, but what's going to happen with the players later? Are they going to want to go away because like now that is not only that's going to remain in Houston, but that's going to remain with those players as well. They're going to be remembered as players that cheated.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but that's going to be no matter what team they play on.
Yeah. So are they going to try to go away in general? Because maybe
go away, going like Japan, go away.
No, I mean like another team. Of course, who's going to want them? You're going to bring in distractions.
Well,
everyone's going to ask questions.
Yeah, but the Astros signed Ozuna, somebody who is poison. You have to ask for sign because you're a great player. So great players we picked up.
Yeah.
Regardless, especially the pitchers. Pitchers are kind of blame free, even though they knew about it. Like Fiers knew, but the everyday roster players, that might be a different story.
Yeah,
because they got that baggage.
But I think Houston will be significantly different stat wise. Another thing that I think should have been taken away is their personal stats. Like what Bellinger said earlier, is talking about how Altuve took an MVP away from Judge and such. There's so many little things that the Astros did that screwed over so many people.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to think. I'm thinking that now that we've just hit an hour a minute ago, I think this is a good spot to end it at. What about you guys? You guys agree?
I'm tired of you. I'm tired of Marissa. Yeah, let's end it.
Either way, thank you, Marissa, for coming along today. You did a great job. Yeah, you're great as usual, although you screw around a little too much.
I did what?
Too much.
I did what?
You screw around a little too much.
Scotty, what's wrong with that?
Okay. And Larry, you did a good job not being too loud.
And what we'll do is midway during the season, we're going to have another podcast so we can all get together again, and we'll have see how our teams are doing.
Yeah.
Bright spots, bad spots.
And maybe see if you can want to come along more often. I'm not sure how your schedule will be in the future, but feel free to come along.
You're more than welcome. Anytime. You got something to say, you got a platform right here.
And by the way, for later episodes, I do plan on bringing a lot of people like Matthew and Michael and Andrew to talk about bowling. Maybe just dedicate an entire episode to it. I would love to do that because I love bowling so much.
Okay.
But either way, we all hope that you enjoyed listening to this, and thank you very much for listening, and good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Go Giants.
There you go.